After you have your animal drawn with pencil and then you've traced all of your pencil lines with marker, we're ready for the next step, which is adding color. And today we're going to use markers to color with. These markers I have are very special and pretty new, and we want to do a good job at making our art look as beautiful as it can and keeping our markers lasting as long as they can. And we can do that by learning to color neatly. So this example is nice and neat. This one is not. If I notice students who haven't learned how to color coloring, one of the things I see lots of times is coloring that looks like that. It's just a scribble. It's out of the edges, it's got a lot of white space, and that kind of coloring hurts the nib or the tip of the marker where the ink flows out of. To do a good job coloring, we're going to first notice how the marker is in our hand. This kind of marker is called a chisel tip marker. So it can make wide lines or it can make thin lines. I want to use a wide line because it's quicker. So I'm going to make sure, however I'm holding it, I'm paying attention so that I can really get that line the right way. So you can look with your eyes to figure out how to hold it in your hand, and I'm holding the marker like a pencil so I can draw those wide lines. Once I've figured that out, I'm going to make sure I'm holding it, and I'm going to use a wide line to trace around the edge of whatever shape I'm trying to draw. This is going to give us another border so we can do a good job staying inside the line. And then I'm going to use wide strokes of color and pull towards me to finish coloring. By only pulling the marker in one direction, we're not smashing the tip of the nib. We're keeping it aligned, and that way these markers will last longer and look better for everyone. When I was looking at our artist Laurel Burch's example, I noticed she had a lot of fun lines and shapes and patterns in her artwork, so maybe I'm going to try to draw some fun lines and shapes and patterns in my artwork. Maybe I'm going to add some curved lines to my animal and then color those with the marker. So I'm first drawing in pencil and then I'll color with marker next. If I want to start by coloring in this part, I'm going to choose whatever color I want to use, and I'm going to hold the marker so I can get a wide line, and I'll use a wide line to trace along the part that I'm coloring and the edges. I like to turn my paper when I'm doing this. If you want to keep your paper up and down, that's okay. Art is about figuring out the best way that it's working for you to do something. Once I have my outline, if I'm missing any little white gaps, I can always use the tip of the marker to fill those in. And then I'm going to fill it in with wide strokes of color. It looks neat, and it's a very speedy way of coloring, and it will keep our markers lasting long so everyone can use them. I'll keep repeating these steps as I color in different parts of my picture. I will trace and then fill it in with whatever colors I want. The other important is to close our markers when we're done using them. If I'm using this marker and I want to put it away, if I put it away like this, it will dry out. So I really want to make sure that I am closing the markers super firmly, and I can test that by gently pushing with my thumb to make sure that it's closed. Some markers make a click sound when they close. These don't always do that, so we really have to check by gently pressing with our hand to make sure they're closed. For this kind of marker, it's better to press with our hand than the table because the caps are a little bit fragile. So I'm just following the same steps. I'm going to trace and then fill it in for my whole picture. When I'm doing a small area like the dots or the inside of the eye, these same steps can still apply. What I can do is I can watch the way I'm holding the marker. I can go around the shape. This time I'm using the tip gently. I'm not even really pressing down, I'm just letting the ink flow, and then I can fill it in. And of course, every time I'm going to close the marker. Same thing, if I wanted to color in the eye, what I can do is I'm going to first choose my color. I think I'm going to give my dog brown eyes. And then, if it's such a small space, some of the small spaces make sense just to color. But I'm still watching what I'm doing and moving slowly because marker doesn't erase. So I want to do the best job that I can the first time. I like to also leave some white in the eyes. I'm going to leave the edges of the eye and the circle white because I think that makes it look really cute and I like the way that that looks. As I'm coloring, I'm also only using one marker at a time. That way I can share with the other people at my table. If you're waiting on a specific marker, you can try using a different color in a different part of your picture while you wait. That way we can do a good job sharing and taking turns. Even for this big area that I'm going to color the same light blue as up here, I'm going to outline first and then fill it in. Alright, I've got this area outlined. I'm also going to outline the small circles so I don't color over top of them. Because I took the time to outline, it'll be really quick and really neat to fill in, just like this. And when I'm done, it will look something like this. I'm almost done. Remember, I'm pulling the marker towards me gently. I'm not pushing down on it. The marker ink is flowing out on its own, and I'm pulling the marker in one direction in little strokes, rather than going back and forth, because all of that helps our markers last longer and our artwork look even better. I would keep using these same ideas till I finish coloring in my whole animal head, and I'm so excited to see your beautiful animals inspired by artist Laurel Burch.